당은 Lama Chöpa kissing down on the Gingo sa Tapteliada, Tambo Yala Timbukone, and a chick so a chick Chopa and Tambo Chasa was setting on the Chasa Vatican later.
Good evening. Where we are in the text is having completed the visualization before one, we come to the actual practice, starting with the 7 limbs. And we started last week at the first of the 7, that of prostrations.
Gom Yamlin Geshe, Jenamado, Shen, Tarbata, Tamjikimoko, Totuga Mara, Chizadini, Anzo Gom Yamlin Chevala, Gom Ganis Gongor and Yamlin Ganichio, Sebi, Danganzu, Digi Yagi, Digi to be Tablam said. And then Dunga said, Dunga didn't in the Sewer said, Dungagi say Tablam thing and Surius and Anzulia, Lami, Cheshik, and Lami Tingor, Dinizada, Anzuga, Lamalia. Chasi Vicala, Dangas that the Jerimbuch, Kiwana, Satavi Jerimbuchidan, Lam Chilama, Idam Sanye, Chanson, Lama Idam Dikin, Yemetachi, Wada, on those Chasi, that Chasi de Canisiosne, Lemi Kusum Tusumi, Yendendiki party, Yendente, and Dalia, Namalia, Debatishu Chiada. Lemi Anzulia, Chutini, Temple, getting Chibuyi, Sampi, getting Jesu Temple, Lamaya, Gushep Chedan, Jadi. We have
as an objective the attainment of lasting happiness, in other words, liberation from all forms of suffering. To attain a state of liberation or enlightenment, one has to attain a mental path and progress along the varying mental paths that it results in the final attainment, that of liberation or enlightenment. But the attainment of such a path, let alone the progression along such a path, is something which we have yet to achieve, not just in this life, but even in past lives. So therefore, to achieve something that has never been done, and not to only achieve it, but to progress along it, we have to rely upon a skilled guide. That is the purpose of a teacher. That is why a spiritual teacher is indispensable. Again, because we need to achieve something that since beginningless time we have yet to achieve. So this is the purpose of relying on a teacher. And in our visualization, we visualized our teacher in the aspect of Lama Tsongkhapa, with Buddha Shakyamuni at his heart and our Yidam at the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni. We've recognized that our Lama is indivisible from these 3 stacked beings, the Yidam, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Lama Tsongkhapa. And now, whilst reflecting on the many great qualities of our teacher, the qualities of his body, speech, and mind, as well as his tremendous kindness, we offer prostration to our teacher.
That in my sick in my dear, Nigun Bacha Cheba Chungchungshin, Bame Yunde Rinchen Sogi der, Pendema Luju, Gojibu, Jizun Lameshavla Chasalos.
Turning to the text, the top of page 5, we have the 20th verse. You eliminated all faults and their imprints, and you are an abundant treasury of infinite precious qualities, sole source of benefits and bliss without exception. I prostrate at your feet, Venerable Guru.
Onda denia Nigun Bacha Cheba Chungchungshin Sidu, the Dondala, Lama Chöpa, and Nyabokun Sidu, Beneducha, Shedan, Kondro, and the Jig doesn't Marik Basadan. And the Jig Q7, Denedusha Shedan Yomo Big Sabin, and the Yomo Big Bacha. Tam je kyoron lama kyorongi de kyoron pang tsabare se jeza pang ba inza nyomo ba jiba bacha dan jeba pang bigi yunde di kyoron lia ne yore se otor da dona lama kyorongi dini yunde da dinen bare pang bigi yunde da den bare sha se ne dis yugore.
looking at the first line, and I'll just change one of the words in the first line to match how we usually translate it. So the first line, you eliminated all faults and their imprints. So here in this line, immediately recognizing good qualities of our Lama, that all faults such as anger, attachment, the ignorance of self-grasping, pride and so forth, all of these have been completely eradicated. And by completely eradicated, it means not just the manifest afflictions, but the seeds from which they arise, as well as the imprints or the stains that are left behind. All of these have been completely eradicated without exception. And this is, you eliminated all faults. So this refers to all these mental faults, as well as their seeds and imprints, have been completely eradicated.
바차다 제바 빵비 빵바데다 냐미네베 냥데서로 제사 데니게다 냥데 미네베 냐데 빵비 윤데서다 라말야 라미기 윤데다 빵비 윤데 죄바 라미기 라마 교란 데니 빵비 윤데 데니 두세데 빵비 윤데 죄바로 라미.
This line is referring to the qualities of abandonment that our teacher has achieved. The quality of abandonment refers to the abandonment of the afflictions together with their seeds and their imprints, which means he has attained non-abiding nirvana.
And in is that Lamigi never never chasa dusha sheda timola so be nyomoba seven da basha da cheba chasa pangbe yunde kyoran dus sideda kyoran ganis pangbare lamna ganis pamba kan lam nyamnen ganis chine pangbare lamna da lama kyorangi ane delia this word bene jamni je janju sem kuno janju sem ane pashin jimba da chujun soba ane zunju jike dus chine nyamlen jine ane sonamyo cho da an jige dongbani le mi be xine da ane dinge ji an dongbani do be sherap lao dong gomba la dene an nyomo ba cha da je ba bang je nen dene gi an kyo bang ba tar chin ba re sa ji je sa kyoron gi nyomo ba cha bang ba de bang da ne kan bang ba sin nyamlen dene chin bang ba re sha spem ba si be 한 자침보다 계침보 자침보 휴지에 선두스네 라미기 연된도 선의 삼다제 라만 뱀마스 때 직대바게 대바 장고로 와드네.
Included here is the recognition that having abandoned the faults of the afflictions such as anger and attachment together with their seeds and imprints is something that came about through extensive training over a protracted period of time. This, which is the process one goes through in order to first achieve a mental path and then to develop those mental paths ever further. And what were the varying paths that our teacher achieved in order to eventually attain non-abiding nirvana or Buddhahood? As a motivation, he cultivated the mental paths of love and compassion, and then developed the varying perfections on the side of the accumulation of merit, such as ethical restraint, generosity, and patience. And together with this, he cultivated the union of calm abiding and meditative insight, and with that as a basis, realized emptiness. So with this realization of wisdom, he also attained the accumulation of wisdom. And these two accumulations, that of merit and that of wisdom, were both developed to the point of perfection. Recognizing these great qualities are within him, faith or conviction or trust within his qualities and his abilities grows within us.
안데 밤에 연대 린치 초기 때를 세디 다디 람미게 도비 연대 주고 도비 연대 다 밤에 연대 린치 초기 때 연대 세디다 먼저 대시 세디를 ben에 잠니제 자주샘 안에 진바도 추전 서버 전전 3대 80주기 냠래 연대 안도 연대 되니게 도비 연대 안 되니게 냠래 도비 연대 된 시절에 세상 최탐제 원숨도 도바 타르침비 이 시대 라마 연대에서 대양 안쪽에 빠도 매봐서 배 연된 야첨부 만주게 삼나나 라마 연된 데니시 마도 민 데니시 요서 세디 만주 데니게 세는 빠든 판 직삼다는 디 라미 연된 같이 여버든 가서 하고 두고 말했다 배 야체다 야첨부 휴지 캠핑에서 밤에 연된에서 알람 캐런데 연된 첨부 두세지 두주 순거를 밤에 연된에서 하리.
The first line then referred to the qualities of abandonment. Now the second line refers to the qualities of attainment or qualities of realization. The second line, I've just added one more word into the English. And you are an abundant treasury of infinite precious qualities. So here, this is reference now to the attainments or realizations that our Lama has cultivated, such as those of wisdom, of concentration, joyous perseverance, patience, generosity, and ethical restraint. So these are amongst his many qualities. And in fact, the level or the scope of qualities that he has attained is beyond fathom for us. And this is the meaning of the term infinite, in infinite precious qualities, that the qualities that the Lama has achieved are beyond compare, beyond measure for someone like ourselves.
Bendigo lungu yunden, dobe yunden, lungu yunden, lung ma chö ma song ya ge lungu yunden, dobe yunden, dobe yunden de la de jam ni je janju sem Panchen Rinpoche nyamle ande ke chasan dobe yunden chagro lungu yunden ma lami ki ma chö song ya de ge song lungu yunden, lungu yunden. Ande ne ge yunden de ne yö ba de da di ga de se ne da Rinpoche so gi de na shi Rinpoche so gi de Rinpoche so la de Rinpoche pe rig midao mangpo pe xiuji pungshawa na tsosa wala mangpo xiuji. Chizan denege mangpo xiuji pungshawa na dele kazi lenpe na lenya zoya me ba. Zoya me di kan jik chido terka si korwa zang terka tuyan side dirwa di na xia. Odi kyorong kyo yunden di pe masi gyache mo pado me ba nganzu ge dine samlo nangli ba chu motu ge yunden pe masi be di Rinpoche tsoji ter na xi re sa xi. And
are an abundant treasury of infinite precious qualities. These infinite qualities refer to those that have already been mentioned, the qualities of abandonment, so that's all false, and the qualities of realization, all the good qualities that have been realized. And there's a third set of qualities, the qualities of teaching the Dharma. So these are all can be included in a treasury. And so here, the Tibetan is a play on the words in that the word treasury is also the word for a mine. And then the word we have as precious is also a word for jewels. So we can understand that a treasury of infinite precious qualities could be literally a mine of infinite jewel-like qualities. So a mine, and then one can also understand that a mine of these precious jewel-like qualities can be mined through the teacher teaching and the student applying those teachings or training in the way that is taught.
제가 디나제 다 림보치 릭 망보 배 망보 초 첨부 여배는 미 차상게 제 레나 도야메 버 여데 버서 차상을 된 거로 봐 레라고 봐 제가 림보치 등아 주기 뜻나 주기 림보치 세지 여배나 안 디게 가려서 아 주기 야 등아 주기 때 지딘 버 삼다베나 아 줄이야 디기 안 주기 튕긴 주비에게 지게 나도 근데 나도 강아 가려서는 사야 동약에 강아 아니 캬비 강아 아니 지게 차비 강아 안직 파수 좀 주지야 강아 되네요도 진짜 되니게 아주래 림보치기 디 배주 땅제 될 때는 아주 변조를 지라용으로 디기 되네 아니 아주게 Nanzul Koyu Kaya Karakoba Delatin Trup Tuguba, Nanzul Kanga Sea, the Menju Chia, Shanla Roba Chia, the Denisian Benjor and the Digit in the Trup Tugore, and the Raha Bija, and the Jeza, Denis and the Sedig, some Tata Rimbochidi, and the Chitimba, the Negi, Shuji, Pando, Chembushu, and Chagorua. On that new mother men and Mikashel Pando Mother Chazan Diamero, or Denisa, that Deniki must have told you there. Rik Mambo Yuba, bottom about soul. There is Joyaguni medical, she said, you indeed didn't she said, Yalamiki, Tuki, and Dendelia, and Dustin up what you go.
The word that we have missed out in our translation, that you are an abundant treasury of infinite precious qualities. So this term that can be translated as abundant or an accumulation of treasure. This then refers to the great many qualities that our teacher has. So if we take the word again that we have here as precious, but its other meaning, that of a jewel. If someone only has 1 or 2 jewels, those jewels can only be shared between 1 or 2 people. But if a person has jewels in abundance, then so many people can be helped. Those jewels can be distributed amongst many people. And this we can relate to from our ordinary life, in that we all need a certain level of material wealth so that we can overcome any harsh circumstances that we may encounter and have sufficient to eat and a good environment in which to live, afford medical care and so forth. So all of this requires medical wealth. And if one has an abundance of this, one then has the capacity to materially help others too. So this is how the analogy is utilized here, where we think of the teacher as having an abundance of qualities, like a vast and deep mine from which these precious jewels of inner good qualities can be mined and developed within others too.
다 동반이다 다음에 걸 신경해 봐야나 아니 샹리아 동반이 때다 동반이 되니 되게 로마슬이야 동이 때도 말와 동이 때셔 다음에 남셔 된신 말와 아니 아직 람냠는 제게 림바디게 안 바지 마신 봐야나 야 샹리아 레지 연대 현다 여베나 디네 마신 봐야나 아직 람냠는 림바디게 된도 말와 지데 디네 인자 아니 라마 쿄라자 이름부터 초나셔봐 나신다 쿄랑이 투기 연된들야 샹리아 감당 뭐발을 튕비쳐 간에 템베나 쿄랑이 땡투에게 뉴바 쿄랑 킹이도스 캠베 연데도스 간에 지마 송보이네 송당 간에 송고고도 아니 베시다 치기 터네 송야게 최송야게 뉴바도스 진짜 데네자 샹기 동아세다 디기투바 탑람 간에 템베나 쿄랑이 땡신고어리 데네게 땡신야게 연된 쿄랑도스 오다네 돈다라.
In general, in our life, and certainly in the context here of the Dharma, it's indispensable to have a basis of knowledge. Without having the basis of knowledge, no further spiritual development can come. In that, for example, to realize impermanence, one needs to understand the topic of impermanence, and most clearly the realization of emptiness. If one doesn't have a deep understanding of emptiness, one will never be able to realize it. And similarly, if one doesn't understand or gain knowledge of what it comprises a path, as well as how to cultivate it within oneself, one is not going to cultivate a path. Knowledge is indispensable. And within the mental continuum of our Lama is not merely knowledge, not only knowledge, but also that knowledge has been integrated in terms of attainments or realizations. So therefore, in our Lama's continuum, it's not merely knowledge, but also that knowledge has been deeply integrated to the point that his continuum has been completely transformed. Hence, he has an abundant treasury of infinite precious qualities. And due to the unsurpassable quality of those realizations, he is able to dispense these jewels of knowledge perfectly in accordance with each student's individual personality, and thereby be able to guide students perfectly in accordance with their own personality in terms of imparting the knowledge that's required, in terms of what needs to be attained and how to do so, as well as to provide the encouragement and guidance so that students can achieve those self-same qualities that the teacher has themselves. Here, when one recites this verse, one is reflecting on the qualities of our Lama's qualities of abandonment and qualities of realization.
Lama Chöpa Jibure says his word. Chöpa Jibule didn't Yungu said.
Then the third line, sole source of benefits and bliss without exception.
Yes, sir. Ane karire se de pemba dan dewa pemba se de jizan kanesre dewa se de kanesre se de jizan de pande jumuya ge goji lama kyona jibo re se de ande ne karire se de de pemba se de disi orwa an jugi gyulu gyudile ko warda kanje pemba la yo de tak lama le tene yungudu le gorwa da kanes yungore la de ji she de da lame gi ngan zulya ane jige tarpada tamje kimbi고 ane jige digi 두비에게 탑런파 덴바 인자 덴바여도 ane ngana zul에 가르친 거선 라미기마 ane jige 잠니제 곰고그래 ane jige 진비 냠는 추정이 남녀随便 냠는 제고를 쫀쫀 좀 고그래 ane 띵에진 신여 줍네 띵에 신여 줍안 다음에베 띵전 저와 중어 띵 다음에베 동방이 띵네 레다 스파강즈마 제가지레 최 냠는 제당 최 냠는 제다 림바 마 송요도 겁랑 띵아 저기 퇴네 마 저기 다 디네 퇴네 라미게 송월에 띵네 아 저기 라마레 대신아 저가 생일이야 라미 연대 주 라마레 대바 지지도 여반자 라미기 막 두시 냠는 림바데 나요도 아 저기 냠는 제용으로 와 냠는 제여도 대 가령 냠는 지게서는 아 저기 잠바 고미야다 니제 고미야 안에 지게 진바 동에 셈바 고미야 안 추름 류가 이수 예제되면 추름 소야 안에 제 쇠바 고미야 안에 지 전주 좀야 내 신여 좀 띵에서 고미야다 된 저게 남자 삼당 동방에 도배 삼당 도스네 안 예중 고미야다 도제 삼당의 또 고미여도 내내 공부로 찾은 냠니 림바디 펜바하세도 최고다 맞아 디기 용야 유디디래다 제가 펜바하세도 펜바 제가 디니기 메이귤에 만주귤에 냠네 림바디래디 라마 결혼할 때는 연구도 어세고다 펜바하세야지.
Whilst reciting this verse, the first two lines then refers to these qualities, firstly of abandonment, and then secondly qualities of realization. Here in the third line, sole source of benefits and bliss without exception, one is recognizing that it's independence on relying on our teacher that we will give rise to the same qualities that he has achieved within our own continuum. So what we have translated here as benefits and bliss can be translated in different ways. Another way would be perhaps happiness and benefit. And what this refers to then is that it's independence on relying on one's Lama, that one will accumulate the causes, the indispensable causes, to give rise to all forms of lasting happiness and achieve all the benefit of the Buddha Dharma. Whatever qualities one aspires for, such as love and compassion, these will only come about in dependence on hearing teachings, reflecting and meditating on them. And through having faith or trust or conviction in one's teacher, one's heart opens to his advice and to his wisdom. And then when we receive guidance in terms of for example, the importance of ethical restraint or generosity or patience, as well as how to cultivate them, as well as the importance, say, of dependent arising and the wisdom realizing emptiness. We gaining knowledge, but doing so combined with a basis of trust in one's teacher, one will have the inspiration to apply those teachings to oneself through meditation and through one's daily activities. So therefore, through recognizing that our teacher is the sole source of benefits and bliss, or benefits, happiness and benefits, without exception, we open our heart to his advice and wisdom and will train in accordance with his spiritual instructions.
On the Deva said, the Deva said, Deva de la Dang on the Setigi Degi, Deva Degi, Benulu, Deva Semgiva, and Setigi Degi, Deva Chimigi, and Degi, and then the Tarbata Tamji Kemba Tona Degi, then the Dingy Deva said, Tarba Tamji Kemba Dingy Deva. Chesa, Dineza, Deva said, is Dang on the Setigi Degi, the Carrion was the Shing to get Lamigi Ma, Yamlin, Jimba now, the Latin to get Jambata, Ninja Combina, and the Setele Kibo. Shanley, Pembe Shanley, Dewa, Raya, Dewa. And the Rangi that Dinigi, the Hill, Lamin Yamlin Demanashin, Manzu Chimbin Yamlin Cheada, Sudrim Yamla, Lunga is new to be Sudrim Yamla Cheodu, and Sedelina, Soso in there, Givoja, and Giwachima in there, and Hata Muko Toyata, and the Tendelia, and the Jig, Twinking Gamaba, Yabuamba, that the Nekap Tigiri, this or Setida, Giwachimiki, this and Nekap Dewa. That's how to get Dewa in and I'm going to Panchen Rinpoche, the Chimba, Sunu Soba, and then I think it's in the time, don't to be share of Gombale, Dene, and a Korea Dunga, Tada literature, ya, as Tarbico Toya. And in Jiba Basha and Jiba Panchen, the Bambale, Dene, and the San Yoko Toya. Jesa, Dewadi, Jesan Negapta, Tarduga, Negavi Dewa, on the Seteda, Yawa Chimagi, Yawa Chimi, Den, the Deginaya. And Tardu Tarbio Toya, the Dingy Dewa, and the San Yoko Toya, Jesan de Dewadi, Jesan Dene Juedi, the Jing and Zugi, Gom Garik, Jam Ninja Janjus, Tomani to be share of Gomba Chazan Gomba in San Yoko Toya, Jesan Deniki, Yamlin Jebala Dene, Manzuki Digiti, Dugu was or Jesan Pande, said the Pen said, Gom Yamlin Jagite, that the Gom Yamlin Jebala Dene, Karin was in Digi Yungure, said Des Pande, said
sole source of benefits and bliss without exception. In the previous segments, I mentioned then the benefit of recognizing, the benefit that comes through recognizing that all attainments that one desires come about in dependence on causes, and those causes are accumulated in dependence on relying on one's teacher. So too, with the second term here, that of bliss or happiness. So the Tibetan word for happiness and bliss is often the same. So here it's the same. So we can understand happiness or bliss as in two ways. First, that of temporary happiness, and that of lasting, stable happiness. The temporary happiness is the happiness that we experience in this life, as well as through creating causes to experience happiness or favorable circumstances in our future lives. So, for example, through hearing teachings from our Lama on love and compassion, being inspired to apply ourselves to studying those and receiving many teachings on them and meditating on them, we will experience benefit in this life and happiness in this life. Moreover, those around us, they too will indirectly receive benefit from the teachings through our mental development, our spiritual development. And as we gain further, we deepen this further within us, these teachings, as we deepen these teachings further within us, and we bring in other teachings such as generosity and ethical restraint, wisdom realizing emptiness, we're gathering further causes that lead to our spiritual development and happiness in this life, and through, in particular, developing an ethical outlook, a mind that is restrained from the afflictions, as well as a generous outlook, a wish to be of benefit to others, we create causes to ensure we attain good rebirths in our future lives. So again, through practices such as mental development, training in generosity and ethics, we attain happiness in this life, as well as create the causes to ensure that in our future lives we have favorable circumstances and thereby happiness too. But as we deepen these within us, they become causes also for the attainment of enlightenment, in particular when combined with bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness. And it's when one achieves the liberation or enlightenment, that is when one achieves ultimate happiness or lasting happiness, a happiness or a bliss that is not punctuated by a moment of even the slightest displeasure. So in this way, you have happiness that is temporary, that is experienced in this and future lives, but is intermittent. And then there's ultimate happiness, or happiness that is lasting and stable, that of the happiness of liberation or enlightenment, that is not punctuated by even a moment of displeasure.
Denigeda Pemba said, Digi Tubia Tablam, Jam Nije, Janju Semna, Panchen Rinpoche, Digede, Yamlenche, Della Dene Yoyageda, Nerabki Dewata, Tarduki Dewa, Tabata, Tamji Kimboko, Toya Maluba said that Denigi Pandi Tubia Pemba than Dewa Maluba. Junior go Jiburi, said that Kuran Jiburi, said Kuran Konar, but the Shanda Mindu says go Jiburi, said the Jazan go Jibu, said the Jazan Lama Kuran Jibur in the Jungu Lama Kuran. Tanganzu Denigi, Tabata, Tamji Kimbo go on to a Lamdin, Tashin Tower Din to get Tashin Batin to get that Sangi Jibu Chadigo, Sangi Jibu, Jazan Lama, Idam Sanyong or Yemi the Daniel Gomgu Banza, didn't go Jilama Kuran Jiburi, said the Kuramata Mindu said the Jiburi says to say Jiburi, said Konare, said Gugore.
Soul source of benefits and bliss without exception. So hopefully from this explanation, what is meant by benefits and what is meant by bliss is clear. And without exception means all good qualities we can achieve within ourselves and become perfected just like our lamas. In other words, become enlightened. And it's only in dependence on relying on our lamas, therefore they are the sole source, that we will achieve such an exalted state. And here then it's important to remind ourselves when we say sole source, and we're referring to our teachers, we also from the outset have recognized that our lamas are indivisible in nature from all the Buddhas. So we're not, whilst we're saying our lamas are the sole source of all happiness and benefit, we are also saying that all the Buddhas are the sole source, because our lama is indivisible in nature from all the Buddhas and Yidams.
Andineza, Nadigi, Lamiki, getting just a bas at Chagor, Rasna Lamik, Anzulia, Chiktarbata, Tamji Kempaki, Digi Tubiaki, Tablam de Dunga say, Tablam Den, the Negi Denje, the Dembala Dene, the Dembadi, Anzuke, Chicken Yamsu Lemba, Yamlen Chebaina, on the Nerapta, Tarbat. Nerapta Tardu Digi Chasa, Jutu, say, Bema, say, getting Chembore, searching on the getting Jesu Chamber.
Whilst it's not explicitly stated, merely reminding ourselves of these good qualities of our Lama and how he is the sole source of benefits and bliss without exception, remind us of the tremendous kindness and benefit our Lama brings into our life. In that, it's independent on our Lama's tremendous qualities that he only attained through tremendous effort himself, and thereby he's imparting to us and our training in accordance with what he says, that we can achieve the same good qualities as him within our own continuum. And in this way, we recognize that not only is he the sole source of benefit and bliss, but all those good qualities, in dependence on his kindness, we can achieve within ourselves.
Jesun Lama Namla Chasa Losone, Jesun si Je Laduan Zugi no Mujina, Je Ladu Zos and Jebo said that, and it's all cool. That thing on the day Zos said Lamadi, Tanganzu Lamadi, Naranzu Lamadi, Tanganzulia, Lam Dunke, the Negi Yamling, but Dunga said and Digi to be a tablan Dunke Lama, that Zo Lama Curore said Lam Zo the Lama Curore, that Zore said Jesun Je said. Lama Chöpa must be that Zumbi, the Lunga is Nieju, Dumbi, Zumba, Kaby, Kajun, Sansum, the Tempa, and the Dini Zada, Denigi, Bed, dress at Denigi Lampe, must get in Chimboy, some Jelamegate, Getting Jesu Tempa. Chesa Lama Chöpa Nganzulia, Denigi, Nazu Dunga Seya, Digi Tubiagi, and Tarpata, Tamji Kimbo Toyeg, Lam, Mano, Denche, Dingen. That's all what Chöpa is. Mother Dang, the Gabriel Yangazo, Gangasea, the Paming, as Robache, Gangasea, Robache, Yorua, and the main big Dangazo, Robota, Mishandaya, Gangasea, Robache, Yorte, Inea. Koyu Dunga Tada Ledrache, Sanye Gomon top to you, Tobiag Tablam, Robachigendi. 단 라마 지부마도 샤다기 민도하서 월다 제가 된사처럼 라마처럼 조리 사지 신앙을 로고치겐 뜻을 강하세야 로고치겐 샤다 위도 연구를 되네 다 코르위 누가 타달을 줘야지 녀모 바차다 제가 빵델을 줘야지 산지 고번 토에게 탑런된 라마처럼 마도 매서 다 조고 라마처럼 조이 사지 다 델이 알라메 뱀마세 기린 첨부이 선에 기린 제수 전제 안델이야 차살로 라드 다 라메 샤블라 라마처럼기 샤블야 아능이마 지기 두체네 지 90제제 90챔병 안에 차살로 90제 90지인소 90제 난다 돈다를 슈라 가서 라마 결혼게 깔롱 람된 제바나시 이 냠낸 제제 탈투바데 라마 결혼 구수 라마 결혼 기기 연된디 다간 하신지 니 귤에 연된디 토바지기 셀라메기데 델야 아능이 디지기세한테 두순걸 다 돈다 님보지에 차살로라도
The fourth line then, in the 20th verse, I prostrate at your feet, Venerable Guru. So first let's look at the word that we have translated as venerable, Jetsun. So Jetsun, just to say as an aside, you will have heard in some other circumstances often Jetsun Milarepa. So it's translated as venerable, but let's look at the two syllables to bring out the meaning of Jetsun. So the first syllable is Je, and this we also know from an epithet for Lama Tsongkhapa, Je Rinpoche. It's the same, Je. So what it means is Lord or King. It means to show someone who is of supreme importance, a master or someone who is superior. So it shows that this person is elevated. So that's the first syllable, that of Je. And then the second is Tsun. Tsun then is a word that means ethics. So someone who is honorable or who is righteous, virtuous. So, and then you have combined that with the first syllable, and you would have someone who is supremely virtuous, supreme kindness, supreme goodness, supreme development, perhaps. So that is the meaning of this term venerable. So the Je is, I think a Chenrezig used to have our precious Lord for Je Rinpoche, yeah? Which is literally what it means. So it can be Lord or King or Master. And then Tsun is the literary word for ethical or ethical restraint. So we put these two together. So here, so now to go back to the commentary. So here the Lama is being elevated with this title of Jetsun, showing how he has these supreme qualities that have come about through his spiritual development. And by the time we've recited, I think this is the third verse of Prostration, one now has developed a deep reverence for our teacher and a reverence of great sincerity. And that then is certainly emotionally expressed by what is said here, I prostrate at your feet, where one can imagine where you place your head at the feet of your Lama in reverence for his incredible qualities, and also making supplication for inspiration, or as it's usually translated as blessing, but really for inspiration, so that we strive to cultivate, to train our minds precisely in accordance with how he is guiding us, so that we can develop the self-same qualities that we are recognizing within him. And furthermore, whilst there are so many beings who indirectly, as well as several who directly help us, such as friends and family, and help us at various points in our life, and whose help is indispensable for our well-being, There is no one who can help us in the way that our lamas can help us, in that they are the being that we have connection to, who has the required qualities to lead us to enlightenment. No matter how wonderful our family may be, or how fortunate we may be to have our circle of friends, and how forthcoming they may be in giving us help and support when we need it. And whilst this help is indispensable, none of them can guide us to enlightenment. Only our Lama has those qualities. And here, this recognition of this will be welling up within us. Hence, we prostrate at his feet, placing our head at his feet. Now we come to the 21st verse. I've just this one verse I've changed the translation of a bit. I'll just read it once, and again we'll probably go through it line by line. Teacher of those, including gods, in actuality you are all the Buddhas, the source from which 84,000 pure dharmas arise. You are vividly resplendent amidst an entire assembly of Aryans. I prostrate to you, kind lamas.
Sanji kunjumuse large temba sidu large ba sidu dang juge ma chue sungsa sigurda jowa hada mida and jige that laman la soba da dini chasan ya tarbi lam ko le jue da ko le jue tarba da tamji gibi ko ba de lam tuen lam tumba da kamna me ba da tumba manowa chasanwa tuen da lama choron ri yesa sigurda large temba sidu.
The first line starts with, teacher of those including gods. Here the word for teacher that has been used is a specific word that usually refers to Buddha Shakyamuni, but here it's being used in relation to our teacher as being the primary teacher of the path to enlightenment for all types of beings. So the text specifically says gods, but we can take this to mean gods, humans, and so forth. So here, in the first part of the first line, our teacher is being recognized as a teacher for humans and gods and other beings, teaching them the complete, the unmistaken path that leads to enlightenment. In the second half of the first line, in actuality, you are all the Buddhas. So this then means that you, in nature, your qualities are identical to that of all the Buddhas. There is no differentiation between the qualities of our Lama and the qualities of the Buddhas. They are identical. So the first line again, teacher of those including gods. In actuality, you are all the Buddhas.
tham kowa da tarba da tamji kimbi ko balo torba jiba lam chaza manowa twenke twenba sangye jumde ne kungwe re saji ma nama kyona di kungwe re sen pa odus chine jik shue na digen sor chego re.
To re-express the first line in a very clear and direct way, you are Lama, are of identical nature to Buddha Shakyamuni, who is the teacher and guide of all humans and gods.
Nadi ngan juge da donala lamegi yende chugorwa dushin lamekyo de denigi sangi kyoron denigi lamano chasan 땡해데 결혼 땡거를 제가 결혼 땡복 그래 제가 결혼 그 투기 연대 상계 탐주 연대나 찍버려샤 디네자 연대를 개발하면 디네자 결혼 라마 연대 디네 줘봐 라마 결혼 상계 공을 상용을 해야지 언도스전이야 라마야 아니 지금 연대 제비 돈에 라마야 나와 주고 봐.
Because this particular word that we have translated here as teacher, it's when you see in a text the word teacher with an uppercase T, refers to Buddha Shakyamuni. Hence, this play between our Lama and Buddha Shakyamuni. So, here in this first line, the qualities of our Lama are being recognized, and recognize that he is the teacher of the complete and unmistaken path to enlightenment, and that there is no difference in terms of qualities between our Lama and Buddha Shakyamuni, and in fact, all the Buddhas.
다 기리 시도 탐주 주변에 세대다 기리 시도 세대 다 주공 기리 시도 세대 나질에 감다 뭐발에 되네 아니 저게 내가 안 라다 미고 봐 토야기 되네 탈비 고바 토야 람돼야다 안지게 산지 고바 토야 람돼야 안지 되네게 동반이 돼야라서 봐 되네게다 최 되네게 다 감나 뭐발에 되네 송비 최공 기리 시동 세야지 뒤도 찾아 안에 라마 결혼을 때네 중국도 라마 결혼을 때는 중국어에 세상 내내 인자 최고 길이 가르치는 라마 결혼을 때 용어잖아 라마 결혼이 다 최고 길이 중국이 내로지 용사로지 중국이 내로 라마 결혼을 해야지.
This follows then into the second line, the source from which 84,000 pure dharmas arise. Here then this is similar to the first line, teacher of those including gods, in that it is from our Lama that our Lama teaches the complete and unmistaken path to enlightenment. And that this is the meaning that our Lama is the source from which the 84,000 pure dharmas arise. So the source at the beginning and arise at the end makes reference that he teaches the complete and unmistaken path to enlightenment. And the meaning behind mentioning the 84,000 pure dharmas, or dharma, pure teachings, is that our Lama teaches beings precisely in accordance with their own unique karmic backgrounds and spiritual inclinations. He doesn't just teach a complete and unmistaken path to enlightenment, but it's tailored to the individual needs of individual students.
파소 군주 은날 항여와 시대 다 파소 시대 다 파베 강사 다 지게미 람냠len 제현 파베 강사 망부 슈저로바다 파베 강사 안디 용을난 파베 강사 코론 주게 람냠len 제네 양지게 소소나 로말리아 최대 두시 판도 야침무 두고로와 지상 파베 소베 망부여바 디 나네다 군지 파베 소 군지 은날 항여와 디길이야 항여와서도 배 쫄마서는 배지게 라마 켜라래 해서지.
Then the third line, you are vividly resplendent amidst an entire assembly of Aryans. And so Aryans refers to very advanced practitioners. So if you imagine an entire assembly of advanced practitioners, our Lama is vividly resplendent amidst all of them. Stands out, I think the translation is that you have is something towers above them. So it's resplendent. Is radiant amongst other advanced practitioners.
Kama shuchude digala tseba chongi dawa chasan ma sha de kala ka watta ba na chi kama ro chi mangbu yorde hina di kili ya pe ma siji chenbu pe we chesho di dawa khona cha de ro chi san dawa digi si yu na de chanda digi pa si yu ne chi ba chi san di na shin chen de ni gi de da yu yin dawa de lang ya wa so cha de ko zo ro chi ko de de ro an di na shin chi san chue de ga mangbu yu be na lama kyo da di na shin yin sa che 니메고라 삼다베다 아주 니메고리아 도스테 다 니메베 지금 짐버키니 메도가라 니메야 니메베 야보샤도 갑리아 남가 야 깔면 소도 열어봐다 깔면 소왜 열어대 매와 말해대 열어대 이나 님이 왜디 왜 지지 차다 쳐지 차선 지기는지 님이 걸야 깔면 왜디 통투고 말아 가서 님이 왜디 고 지지 차다시 디나시 지금 최den게 파브소 뭐 예배나네 달라마 결혼 라마상이 결혼 디나시 항해 와대 차선은 불도 된대야 돼 달라마 결혼하리 사지도 숨어 항해 와서야 돼.
Still with the third line, you are perfectly resplendent amidst an entire assembly of Aryans. The term then vividly resplendent we can understand if we take a couple of analogies, say on a clear night sky. When we look up, the heavens are filled with stars and they're bright and they're beautiful. But when we have a full moon, that full moon here is likened to our Lama in that amongst all these beautiful stars at night, it's a full moon that is radiant beyond compare. So too in the daytime, on a beautiful clear day, when the sky is free of clouds, despite the heavens still being filled with stars, the brightness of the sunlight overwhelms any starlight, and all we can see is the radiance of the sun. And this then, in the day, would be likened to our Lama.
진짜 라마 남라 차사로 진짜에서 되니게다 가서 라마 결혼에 가서야 안내 감담 뭐 준비기 탈바다 탐지 김이고 뭐 준비 람된 된제 가서야 안 동화를 줘야야 두스네 코발에 결혼기 배 잠닝시 돈에 가서야 되니게 탑란 된제 고비 동화를 줘와 제가 지고 뱀마스 끝인 친구 예세 진짜 라마 결혼 진짜 난 라마 결혼을 양아줄 끝인 채와직 요마레스 제자 라마 결혼 뱀마스 끝인 친구래 제자 라마 남라 시대당 아주 다도 조아주 제르무지 세탑셔 이나당 아주 라마 망부어래 이나 라마 차산 제르무지 고 데디데니야 고 찍봤음 다제 두스네 지도다 라마 망부 라마 차산이야 안 두스네 차세기 인세오로.
The fourth line, I prostrate to you, kind lamas. So just to first say as an aside, in Tibetan the use of plural is, the plural is seldom used, and when it is used it doesn't have any explicit meaning. But in this particular line the plural is used, perhaps for the first time. In English we use it very intentionally, but it's not so in Tibetan. Anyway, in the fourth line here, it is explicitly used, I prostrate to you, kind lamas. So that here when we see a plural being used, we remind ourselves that whilst we are visualizing our teacher in the aspect of Lama Tsongkhapa, if we have many teachers, whilst we may only be visualizing Lama Tsongkhapa, we know in essence they are identical. So even if one visualizes one, we know they are all identical in nature. So therefore one encompasses all. And here we're prostrating to our Lama, having recognized his incomparable kindness. And what is the particular kindness of our spiritual teacher? And that is that he teaches us the complete and perfect path precisely in accordance with our own unique individual personalities and karmic backgrounds, and he does so motivated by love, compassion and wisdom. And this way we have a perfect as well as indispensable guide to attain enlightenment. Recognizing this, we recognize the incomparable kindness of our Lama.
기리야 네제르모 체제 네제르모 투가네바 땡도여 트비게 라마 안지게 냠레질레기 라마세다 예르 트비게다 딘마 안지게 제신 주기게 라마 안데다데 유엔디 트비게 되네 안제 사모타오기 라마 안드니야 오기 라마 어디서 제사 라마 남라 시도 다시 차상 시고로 어디 남라세 디 차상도 고치고 고고래.
And a further way one can understand the use of the plural here, lamas, is that if you think of the entire visualization, light rays coming from the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa, then on those light rays are further lotuses, sun and moon discs, and behind him are the the practice lineage of lamas, and on either side the vast and profound lineage of lamas. So all of these would also be our lineage lamas, our indirect lamas. So to all of them we offer prostration, because it's independent on all their kindness that we will spiritually develop.
And jiga sosolia and chichu so big packaging chibuyi, sembe kitchen cheso temple, and gushap jene, and jiga lama kong you kusong to yunden, dinda washing ya tower show, sembe some danger don't lose in, and the chasewa, the chago, chasewa, yes, or chasan do tusrua.
Here, throughout these verses, we're recalling the various qualities of our lamas, as well as the lineage lamas, their qualities of body, speech, and mind, their tremendous kindness and benefit that they bring into our lives. And with this arising within us, we readily place our head at their feet, prostrating towards them, with opening our heart to them, with a determination to train perfectly in accordance with their teachings, and thereby, with confidence we know, we'll develop the self-same qualities that they have developed in themselves.
And 결혼기 차세디 결혼기 인고 서답시기 라마를 차세마다 샹달을 차세기 말베스 샹다 기고나 사마다와 라마 용그루와 산델이야 안 차세기 말베스는 지드네식 도시네 안 디버스리베나 어디 말에 차상을 책임져야 된마 안 지단을 차상을 봐 책임져야 된마 두순고하다 지단 지워지 뒤에도요 말와든 이내다 되네게 용루다 기고 사시베 라마마도 샹달을 결혼 차세기 말베스 삼로도 용식이로와 아데니 시디 안데 말에다 기고 사다시야 이미 샹달을 책임져서 차세기셔야지.
A lot of what's being done here is to open ourselves up, so be aware of any narrow minds that may be coming, thinking like, these lamas before me, visualize before me, it's them and them alone that I will pay homage to or prostrate to. That would be too narrow approach. Certainly, there will be other great beings who will bring great benefit to us and others that are worthy of our prostration.
아디 차상을 샹다 책이셔야 되다 지용을야 차상다 용호사 따바다 디사다 마타베네 지용을 봐 차상 책이셔야 돼 디소다 뒤숨 쳐주 슈베 라마다 린친 초숨 차게 탐제라 내지 매베 되야 계속이 신도니 빌르트 차살로서.
With this in mind, we come to the 26th verse, referring to those both visualized and not visualized. To Guru's dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, the 3 precious and supreme jewels and all worthy of homage, with faith, conviction, and ocean of lyric praise, I prostrate, manifesting as many bodies as atoms of the world.
뒤숨 쳐주 슈베 라마다 시된 뒤숨 세대다 가 저게 겨와 아마 대비 뒤기야 소설이야다 다된 알아서 개왕 아마디와 라메선의 최슈용아도 최 냠는 제어 제산 알아서 개왕 아메 갑리야 알아서 미 라마요레스 제산 라마다 뒤숨 대비 뒤게 라마 나 다디 뒤게 알아서 라마 다된 알아서 사다시베 라마 사다시베 라마 다된 알아서 최 대비 뒤 다디 뒤게 라마 단 마음바나 나가야 마음바나 양아슬이야 지 라마 최념네 제 라메 띵게 라마 제산 뒤숨게 라마 대비 뒤게 라마다 다디베 사답시베 라마디게다 근데 마음바나 양아 최념네 지디 갑 라마 디조 마음베 라마 뒤숨게 라마 아니 대야 아니 초준나 슈바세다 대야 초직만 받아 지게 초준나 슈베게 지게 초시단 참시단 게안 대화다 도 되네기 초준의 슈피기다 되네기 개왕 아마기 데빌 라마요레 안에 다데 라마요레 마음바나 되네 용거를 제사 뒤숨게 라마 초준의 슈베 라마디게야 자세기인 소다 뒤숨 초준 슈베 라마당스.
The first line, to Guru's dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions. Here, pushing our mind, keeping our mind broad and expansive, we offering prostration to all lamas, not just those visualized before us, which would be the lamas of this lifetime, but also to lamas of past lifetimes that perhaps we haven't made contact with in this life, as well as the lamas in future lifetimes that we also haven't made contact yet with in this life. So to all of them, of the 3 times, and in all directions, all around us, above and below, we offer prostration.
Jangwa de Gedinda, Tsedi Lama Lame Yundeda, Tsedi Lame Anzula Chöshi, Nanje, Gedin Jangwa, Mon Big Lame Yundeda, Lame Anzula Chö, Lamdeji, Gedin Jawni, the Cabar Jebe, Jiba Jiga, Cabar Meba, Desi Chesa, the Niki, Church in the Chubi, do some church in the Chuba Lama, and then Cabe Meba, Chasanlia Chaseki in Saji, do some Grua.
Calling to mind the lamas that we have both in this life, those from our past lives, those that we are still to encounter later in this life or future lives, all of these, in dependence on whom we have attained such great benefit and developed such great amounts of virtue, those that we are attaining benefit from and accumulating virtue and dependence on, and those in the future whom we will attain benefit from and accumulate virtue and dependence on, calling them all to mind and recognizing that in terms of their nature, there is no difference. There's no difference in quality, in their qualities, or in terms of attainments between them. We call them all to mind.
Rinjin Chosum Chawe Tamjela said, Rinjin Chosum Sededa, Rinpochidan Devi, Jamnia Conjosum Seura, Sanye Conjo, Chogonjo, Kitun Conjo, said, Chisan de Conjosum La Chatsekis. The other do some you conjosum Chagrua, did me Javanga Dadawata, Mahobada, the Niki Yungua, the Neza, Rinjin Chosum Chila Sanye Conjo, Cho Conjo, Kitun Conjo, on the Solia Chatsekin Sura.
To Guru's dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, the 3 precious and supreme jewels and all worthy of homage. So here we, in addition to calling to mind our lamas, we call to mind the 3 jewels also of the 3 times.
Then Chorong Lama Main be Papa Digile Chasan, then Tigribe said, Yanchis and Chorong Laman Marap, and Consul Chatsego, some Minduas and big some Yonsigua. Jizan, the solo chats and chats or whereabouts, Jigor, Pandoyor. Jizan Sosu Lama Main get a Papa Gazachilia, Chas and Chorong Lama Maro and Chatsego, Minduas and big some Yonsigua. Jizan Dineza, the conjures from the chats, the Papa Gaza Chasan chats. Chats whereabouts, Conso Yamlin, Lamig, Dumbi, Rangi, Dumbi, San Jimne, Jesu Trani, and Yamlin, the Yamlin, Lam Gula, Public Gaza Chatuer. Says Koran to get Yamlin Suji to Chelia, and Shalaya, and the Koran to Loma, the Talam, the Tarba Tamjiko, Lam Dingo, Jeza, Chats in the chats of whereabouts, Jeza Dizida, and the Sosugi, Lama Maimba in a Public Gaza, Chatsing, or Dangajil.
Looking further at the second line, the 3 precious and supreme jewels and all worthy of homage. The purpose then for having the all worthy of homage is to ensure, again, we keep our mind broad and expansive and we don't become narrow and confine our outlook. Because certainly what we want to guard ourselves against is when we are generating faith in our Lama, that we exclude others. In particular, those who are also worthy of homage. In other words, other lamas that we may not have any connection with right now, or have come to recognize their qualities, but they are Arya beings that do have great qualities, and they certainly are suitable for leading beings. So the term we have translated as worthy can also be translated as appropriate or suitable. So here we are recognizing those Arya beings, those lamas, who we may not have connection with right now, but we're not pushing them away and saying, you are lower, you are not worthy, but rather recognizing that they do have great qualities and are suitable to offer prostration to.
나는 간에 차세고래 시도 나 차세기 수송을 대진 매배对안 겨서지 신도년 빌류지 차살로서도 대진 매바서 라미기 나대시 라미가 초신 사대시 라마다 안주숨나 주베 초준나 주베 상예다 안 겸녀 공조 숨기 구송투 연된파 즉 연된파 전제 대려 대바제지도 지인세 대진 대바제지도 연된디게 전제 대바제지도 제 안에 지게 소소리야 딩이 꺄지 딩이 예 라마디 딩디게 바제제 그딩 제수전에 제수전에 되네 매베스데 되니게 라말야 대바다 구십제네 되네 다对样세드 파 되니게 라미기 구송투게 연된디 파 주예제 되바 제제 되네 베네 당님부 제제 배능하지다 마 라마 chöpa 되는데 당님부 된거로 왔다 되고 어제데 되야 당님부 제제 야설제에서 되니게 배 야chen 보시고 아니 지게 뉘다 내가 빠도 매바 되네 저ton에는 야 차책이 인세월 차체장에 다 차체리급라 셈유톤에 가르지오레 안에 세디 지소와 셈유톤에 르응제 라미 구송투기 연된 대제 대바지시도제 라마랄리아 딩이야 딩제인 바이 매바 딩제 끝인 지소전에 응구바데 매바지시제 다디 고 셈유톤에 삼다다제 당하게 권에 가서는 되바 책임부 대지디기마 마 되바디 파되 안직 sikpa tuyanga tue andian dimbegalia jige jogojogola xiaoman ba je be dangnibu dang ji pa me goyo de ba semle galang la yo dangnibu she da ndu xine anji yin se wo da di je de lui de je li yi ba.
Before I come to this commentary, just to say, so I mentioned the word worthy can also be expressed as appropriate or suitable, and the term we have translated as homage is also the word for prostration. So the word prostration, homage, salutation, it's all the same word. So now then coming to this commentary, the third and fourth line present how one offers homage or offers prostration. So reading the third line first. With faith, conviction, and an ocean of lyric praise. The first two terms then, faith and conviction, these refers to the offering of mental prostration, where with heartfelt trust, or the word for faith is often better translated as trust or conviction. So with heartfelt trust in one's Lama, in particular in his good qualities, the qualities of his body, speech, and mind, and his incredible kindness and benefit that he brings into our life. We offer mental prostration in this way through faith and conviction in his qualities and in his kindness. The second way one offers homage or prostration is verbally, and that's expressed in the second half of the line, and an ocean of lyric praise. So this, particularly in the context of the Lama Chöpa that one is performing, one will be reciting in a beautiful and melodious way. And in this way, one is offering lyrical praise to one's Lama. So this third line shows how we offer prostration or homage to our Lama through mentally as well as verbally.
세상은 차 체들이야 류기 차 나기 차 이기 차서 류가 유스미 차차고로 세상 이기 차단 차세디 라미 구송 투이 연대파 대제 라말리아 대바 제지도 제 안 라메게 라리아 게든지바 게든 제수 젬바시네 데니기 게진 제수 전에 90개 삼다야디 니 이기 차셔고 이기 차서 땅 나기 차디 아니 직 라미게 이렇게 되비게 직디바 되 직디바 되 안디바 되 당연부 지바 되바 되어야지 등하게 차서 다 딩이디 이기 차다 나기 차인데 송거래.
Prostration or homage is offered in three ways: body, speech, and mind. So first, the text presents that of mental, so faith and conviction. So faith is often better translated as conviction or trust. And the term we have for conviction also can be aspirations, more commonly expressed as aspiration. So one has conviction or trust in all the Lama's qualities of body, speech, and mind, as well as his kindness. And then the second term, aspiration, to develop those through applying his teachings in one's life. So that is how one mentally offers prostration. And then verbally is through melodiously reciting verses of praise such as these.
다 류기 차디서 다 디가르레스네 신르nyambe 신둘nyambe 류지 차살로 시데 류기 차스디 갑라 안 소소 류디 다 신이 둘시데 간소 점리 사시들이야 뒤가제 뒤기 자나냐바 신둘nyambe 진나 뒤기 자나냐be 류디 파 주지 가서 주선 당한서 차세베도 주투에 되어 말데 이내 가서 삼로 땅도 갑려야 신이 뒤기 자나냐be 네 류디 되는 슈 삼백이 뭐바지 오르다 나 되네게 뭐바체지 아니 신규 두가지 요나 디자나 냠비게다 니 류디 주디 예스베게 되네 매바체 안 되네게 안지게 도시네 마 차체디 갑라다 지게 차체디 갑라 더 류기 차세오 제자다 대신 나게 차 주비 갑리야 더 류디레 두자나 냠바 요반자 나 지게 고 두자나니 고요로 제자 제레 두자나니 줘서 되는 망가가 주비까지 고 관은 봐도는데 두자나니 비게 류기 관에 나가 관에 아니 고그바직 땡하다 당년부 땡겨 봐도 제사 야소르지에서 야소스를 빼 야치 모르와 제사 류기 두자나니 보여 삼바제 류딘의 주에서 매바체 되는 고대 나다 되는 여바자 디토네 땡아 도스첸 주비 선배게 된 제제도 갑라 자소 나시지 되네치네 다가제 류가 있으면 거네 차체도 갑라 온도스첸에 류유권에 되네 세계가 나유권에 되네 삼다 아니 이유권에 삼다 되네 레서 류가 있으면 거네 차체다 되네 레서 세계에서 세계 인수 월다데.
With the third line referring to offering of mental and verbal prostration, the fourth line then presents physical prostration. I prostrate, manifesting as many bodies as atoms of the world. So whilst we can't emanate or manifest other bodies, one certainly does so on the level of imagination here, where one imagines many bodies in one's own form prostrating to our Lama, with many heads and many mouths singing praise to our Lama. So in this way, we can manifest as many bodies as our imagination allows us, offering homage to our Lama. And so as many as our imagination allows us, and the text says specifically as many bodies as atoms of the world. And all of them with mouths singing praise to our Lama. And that's the reference in the previous line to an ocean of lyric praise, in that through vast numbers of emanated bodies, equal in number to as many atoms of the world, one can imagine the amount of praise that would come from so many bodies can be likened here poetically to an ocean.
안직 라메게 양아주 최선에 배 깨진 첨부이 선에 깨진 지수 전제 누신에 안삼다제 다 되네자 디나신 라메게 구순도 유연된 디나시 증이 귤에 제 묘도 토벌쇼 선배 삼다제 누신에 된 거로 지자 되네 인자 저기 지게 당아제 차 세상 갑리야 삼다나데 디니시에서 주로.
This brings us to the conclusion of the limb of prostration in these 5 verses, presented here in 5 verses. So what we've done as we've progressed through the verses is we've been reminding ourselves as we've recited these words of the incomparable qualities of our Lama's body, speech and mind, as well as his incomparable kindness and benefits that he brings into our life. And we are doing this so as to generate an ever stronger conviction in his qualities and trust in his guidance, so as to open our minds, open our hearts to his teachings, to his inspiration. So here the text usually use the word blessing, and the meaning would be to request through prostration inspiration, so as to train in accordance with his teachings and thereby achieve the self-same qualities as he has achieved in his own continuum.
Penangazo chalaris ne karine chaladil pe mazo yenden shu tu sempegechina chaladi anzo dunya shuligirwa chesa chaladi kadeshna oditi manyonde tabinanga nguiji kadeshna tabshi di nyogi sembe samligirwa chesa denige chaladil yape yenden shu thona di raege dunya ligirwa andi nanshire tangazo lami kusung tu yenden denje yenden pe chi yenden pa 통해도 그 디나시 연대 슈배 판도하시면 빼야고 디나시 할래 구구스 병한적이 디 연대 디나시 토베가 돈이렇게 눈밖에 숙침부게래 빼마지 핑거래 아니 달라미게 깨진 지수전지 깨진 지수전에 될로 90시 제도다 깨진 첨보다 할래 판도하시면 하고 슈은 선배 90개 제도가라 ngayayu mo bar lama ya ngayali mare lama ya tensim li nga tensim li ga mare ngayali ga mare dinigi khabar ni chekje yende duschene pando chimbu ngore 지사 다 nga 저기 아직 lama ya kedin jesu temba da ani jigi 구십대 매제바나 아니 nga 저기 아직 추까지 판도 되면 아주 지된 바로 와다 지단에 파가지 지 판도를 제베네 아니 지기 아디 미디게 판도 약고 제소 선비게 섬 게딘 제베나 은출레 주 구십제다 안지게 가르체베네 로버체다 제주로 때까지 로버체네 퍼게 미코 로버체서 베게딘데 균에 맞은 바네 삼마다베네 네 파셔들 강한 체베네 난지 낭메 다샤야다 디니 연구로 봐 진짜 디니 인자 라미 게딘 제수 전체 제베네 라말려 구십제 라말려 구십제베네 지 라말야 지가주 가리나 최고피야당 안치라메전에 최슈야 라마는 대바는 구바에는 라미 깔롭시 나베나 디냠네 제샤나 오라솔라솔라소스네 가지고 이제 해봐요래 제살라미기 전에 최슈야래 아니 야네 양도 쉬야게 되바 dunya리고래 제살라미 깨진 제소 마된 바이나 아다 최슈야에 디지게 되냐 말레바당 안지게 라미까지 나베네 라마단 깨진 제소 템바데 대바 슈치 말레바이나 라미까지 나나다 송도 때가디 디셋다 당문가 지금에서 배삼로 용구로와 안되네 제상아 저기 라미게 대바 제다 그린 시스템바이나 저기 냠len 제알이야 셈슐 dum바 슈처리야 안델라 때네 라미전에 야네 야도 최슈야 안데 지게 판도 침부으로와 되네게 인자데 조어디레 안 양직 되네게 디레 되네게 디로시레다 도나로시.
Regularly throughout these verses, you've heard me emphasizing the need to generate faith or trust in the qualities of our Lama, as well as to secondly recall his tremendous kindness and benefit he brings to our life. So it's important that one understands clearly why one needs to do so, and that one doesn't just hear this, oh, it's something that should be done, but understand why it is indispensable. So the Buddha Dharma often works in the same way as in accordance with how we go about our everyday life. In that, if there's something that perhaps we see advertised on television and we think, I really want that, and it dominates our mind, and we put together all the causes required to make sure we get it, the reason that we want it, and the reason that we strive so to get it, and it dominates our mind, is because we see the benefit of having it. So something's advertised, we think how useful that would be in my life, the happiness and joy it would bring into my life, and then it dominates our mind, and we strive to make sure we get it. So similarly, by reflecting on the good qualities of our Lama, generating faith or trust in those good qualities, we will want to develop those same qualities within ourselves, and this will dominate our mind. The determination to develop, for example, qualities such as love or wisdom within ourselves will grow as we recognize them within our teacher, and we will want to receive his guidance on how to develop them. In other words, hear his teachings and apply them through meditation. So this determination, this aspiration to transform our way of thinking comes about in dependence on faith in the qualities of our Lama. Because recognizing that he has developed them, we will see him as a valid guide, someone we can rely on to develop those same good qualities within ourselves. So this is the reason why it's so important to have faith in the qualities of our Lama. And then secondly, that of kindness. So here, if we recognize the tremendous kindness or benefit that our Lama brings into our lives, this serves to counteract our competitiveness or our feeling of pride. And this serves then to open our heart, open our mind to his advice, to his guidance. And then those same words, if we are open to him, those same words will have a profound impact on us. Whereas if our mind is closed, those words would almost just bounce off us. If we've recognized the kindness of our teacher, every time we call him to mind, we will want to live in accordance with his teachings because we will want to develop those same good qualities that we had recognized previously. We will not turn away from his guidance, turn away from his teachings. We won't just be a fair weather student, but someone who wants to develop those same qualities within ourselves. We will apply ourselves with vigor to transform long-held unhelpful habits and to also strengthen our growing good qualities. So this comes about in dependence on recognizing the great qualities of within our teacher, as well as the kindness and benefits that he brings into our life. And it's this appreciation of his qualities and kindness that leads us to strive ever more to transform our way of thinking, to develop spiritually.
가서 연대한테 대바제 라면을 진짜뭐 그든 지수제 도시네 가서 도시네 라말이야 안지게 기디네 가서 라마 쳬바 직냠는 제베나라 되네 지까지나 아주 최냠는 가르치는 기회신 제수도 계치면 나고 하는 거로와 제가 라메도 삼다데 되네시 되네 장안적이 라메이 대바제 구수 연대한테 대바장 라메기 진짜뭐 임바데 그든 지수제 되네 라말이야 도시네 소화 됩든지 당아서 드린 게 시야데 다 뭐 제일 시야데 당은 저기다 다 최고 후유걸 마셔야 돼.
We've concluded then the first of the 7 limbs that are prostrations, and next week we'll come to the second, that of offerings. But just in conclusion to say that we've looked here at a fundamental part of this entire practice. So this practice is called Lama Chöpa or Guru Puja. So Lama, we understand, is referring here to our spiritual teacher, and the second word Chöpa, this is offering reverence or honoring, so honoring the Lama or revering our Lama. So this practice is, in English we could say, honoring the Lama or revering the Lama. And you can see then when you understand the title of this practice, how important this section that we've just looked at, that we need to generate this within our mind, not just here, but have it right at the outset and throughout our whole practice. So we'll conclude here, and we'll start with the 23rd verse and the section on offerings next week. So thank you very much.